Hey, what is up, YouTube? It's Josh with the Get Business Credit YouTube channel. I just want to make this quick video to show you guys a demo of my one-on-one VIP business credit mentorship. Explain a little bit of the details and show you guys a few things as well. If you're trying to build business credit up and you're having difficulties with getting approved and you're going after these starter vendors, net 30s that claim to build business credit, stop doing that. A lot of those starter vendors, I would say 80% of Summa Office Supplies, Strategic Network Solutions, even like Crown Office Supply, there's a place for some of them, but Red Spectrum, there's so many of them. There's just too many for me to name to tell you to stay away from, because a lot of them were reporting back during COVID, but they've lost their data furnishing license with pretty much all the bureaus. And some of them now only report to CreditSafe. And CreditSafe's important, but not important enough to be getting ripped off and overcharged for a membership fee or annual fee. There's no need to do that. Don't waste money like that. So that's where my one-on-one business credit mentorship comes in. I guide you and walk you through every single week what you need to do based on your custom situation, because let's be realistic here. There's no one business owner that's the same as others. You're in a different situation than another business. Even if you and somebody else has a trucking company, you both have different credit scores on the personal side. You both have different end goals. One of you guys might be trying to get financing for equipment or a truck or a trailer, while the other might be trying to build up their business credit so they can get funding to invest into, say, real estate. Everybody's in a different situation and have different goals. Therefore, business credit, there's no one size fits all. But I've been there. I've been doing business credit, building business credit for over 20 years. For those that don't know, you can see these are stacks of business credit cards. It's not all of them. I have a lot more. It's just all I can fit in my hand this moment. But did I get approved for every single thing that I've ever applied for? No, but I pretty much got approved for 98% of anything that I applied for. And I started off with a brand new business when I started the channel 5 years ago, just to show, because I didn't want to use one of my pre-existing businesses that already had business credit built up. I went through the process and showed you guys how to get approved. And if you have the time, go back and watch some of my other videos. And the ones that will give you the most gems when it comes to the true advice that I give you, the most valuable advice, is search my channel, all the videos, and search by the popular. And don't watch the popular ones. That's just going to sort the view count. Go to the ones with the least views. The ones with the least views are going to be, yeah, they could be boring, but it's a lecture teaching you the things that do matter on business credit, like rich filmographic data, key personnel, understanding the industry codes, the NAT codes, SIC codes, how important it is to have a website, and having your email address, the business phone number. All this information is not provided to the bureaus through LexisNexis. So you can provide that to, say, Experian, and it's going to make your profile stronger. Don't worry about business credit scores. Business credit scores are not important. For instance, my biggest approval in the initial stages of the first year of building business credit up for that business, when I started the channel, I got $150,000 approval, and my business credit score with Experian was 34. But then when I say I had a 90 Intel score, I can't get approved for anything besides like toilet paper and coffee or whatever. So don't get hung up on the scores, because anybody could start a brand new LLC, say today, and then just get like Fair Figure, eCredible, and NAV and Uline, and those are fine. No problem with that. But it's only going to get you so far. That's just this building block, the foundation. But you can get like an 80 PAYDEX score, 80, 90 Intel score, but then go try to apply for, say, a $5,000, $10,000 business loan. And if you're not personally guaranteeing it, or you don't have sufficient earnings, that's unlikely anyways, even if you're right out of the gate, because you need to have at least 90 days of payment history, of banking data. It's just going to be hard regardless. My point is, business credit scores are just something to kind of gauge, but don't get hung up on them. If you're going to chase the scores, It's like an ego. You're going to pat yourself on the back. Okay, what good does that do? That's not going to change and get you the funding and working capital that you need to grow your business. And some of you guys might not like how blunt I am, but hey, I'm not going to try to do a smoke screen and put fluff out there, tell you what you want to hear, and then you're going to be disappointed. Unfortunately, there's a lot of other channels out there make you believe that you just get as many trade lines as you can, just do it blindly, get a $40,000 Sunbelt Rentals trade line. But what are you going to do with that? Rent a crane or a pressure washer or something? It just makes no sense. So strategically build up your business credit based on what your goals are. 99% of all financial underwriters that say business gas cards, MasterCards, Visas, working capital lines, draw lines, revolving lines, store cards, commercial cards, the list goes on. Anything financially related, 99% of the time, the underwriter will be pulling your Experian Business Credit. And they're not going to be looking at the scores. They're going to look at that quarterly payment trend and how many trade lines you have, but not quantity. They're looking at the quality and the consistency, because you can have 10 trade lines on Experian, but if they all have zero balance and there's not much history at all, don't expect you're going to get approved for something high. It's just like on the personal side. If you have 5 personal credit cards and they all are like $500 to $1,000 limit, and then you go apply for another card, your 6th card, don't think that Chase is going to sit there and give you like a $20,000 limit. It's not going to go from 1,000 to 20,000. They may offer you like 5,000 or something, but it's not going to be a huge jump. That's the same thing that goes forward with business credit. So if you're only demonstrating that you're making payments on these trade lines, net 30s or whatever it may be, store cards, but you're only showing your recent high credit of $200, $300 on each one, that's not going to demonstrate that you're able to pay back, say, $100,000, and you can make $10,000 or $5,000 or $3,000 monthly payments. So that's where my one-on-one business credit mentorship comes in. I strategically take in what you need to do based on what your goals are. I do a full audit of your business credit reports and secondary databases, as well as citations. I look at all this and make sure your business is in all national voice telecom databases like Synchrony, polls and looks for T-Mobile, AT&T, Comcast Spectrum, and Verizon. You need to be listening to those, because if you're not listed, then your denial reason could be your business information is unverifiable. There's just so much to business credit. There's a science really to it. Personal credit is pretty straightforward. However, because business credit is not federally regulated, there's a lot of mixed information out there, and there's a lot of people on YouTube that are taking advantage of vulnerable people that are just trying to build up their business credit so they can improve and better their life. So if anybody is interested in my one-on-one business credit mentorship, day or night, it doesn't matter. I'm actually currently in the Philippines, so you can just text me. It's 937-423-9954. And just text that you are interested to know more about the one-on-one business credit mentorship. And then I can shoot you over an email. Just text me your email address. I'll shoot you over an email that goes over the overview. And then if you still want to proceed with a free consultation, I'll give you my honest advice if you'd be a good fit or not for my one-on-one business credit mentorship. There's a lot of people that contact me daily, 10 to 20 people a day. And to be honest with you, I can only accept maybe 2 to 3, sometimes 4 or so in a week. And it just depends on spots, because I won't take on more than 60 students at one given period of time. I think I have 54, 55 now. I had 57, but then a couple, their mentorship ended. My lowest mentorship is 12 weeks. It goes from 12, 16, 26, and 52 weeks. Majority of my students choose to do the 16 weeks. The ones enrolled in the 26 or 52 week mentorship, those students are going after mainly high limits and a lot of options for real estate investing for the most part. So those are ones that are looking for 500,000 to 2 or so. But anyways, let's get into this, because I keep rambling. I just want to show you guys a few things real quick, and then I'll show you the demo of the client portal. And then if you're interested, you could reach out to me. So I'm the only channel actually on YouTube that's publicly endorsed by Experian. Experian Business Credit comes in frequently and will comment. Like you can see here, Experian's YouTube channel. They came in and said, this was a couple years ago. Great video, Josh. Like the new format, very clearly presented. And then they commented again for another video that I did and said, thanks for creating this content, Joshua. And then let's go down here. This is just a snapshot of loans that I was able to get just in a matter of 4 months, different students and subscribers of mine, just through one underwriter, and it totals up to 800,000. And that's just a matter of 4 months. That doesn't even count all the accounts. If you combine them all, I think I've been able to get total over 35 million business credit with all my students combined over the years. Just myself, I was able to get 2.6 million in business credit. That doesn't even count my American Express Centurion Black invite only card. It's a charge card, but the sky's the limit. I don't even count those cards because those are personally guaranteed. But 60% of my business credit I was able to achieve when I started the channel, the 2.6 million, I would say a minimum of 50% of it, maybe up to 60% is no PG, no bearing whatsoever on my personal credit. So these are just examples, but you can see some of my students approved for 5,000 in my client portal. I'll show you guys that in a minute, but you can see approved for 5,000, pre-approved for 10,000. I got approved for 4,000. Stanley says I was approved for 3,500, no PG. Lucas, I was approved for 2,500. These are just different store cards like Lowe's, JCPenney, some gas cards. I think this one's got approved for 850 weekly spending limit for this one, because that's like a net 7. Michaela says approved for 10,000 credit line. If I'm not mistaken, I believe that was Capital on Tap. 50K approval. I believe that was Michaela as well. Mario approved for Best Buy 5,000. He's one of my first students that signed up for the yearly mentorship. He literally got this in the first month of the mentorship. He was able to get 100,000 divvy approval, and he was able to get a $75,000 revenue flex line approval. So literally, I think that was in the first 2 or 3 weeks of the mentorship, 175,000, and it's still climbing. And yes, it affects what your sales and revenue is. That's a big factor with the fintech financial technology companies. However, like Capital on Tap, if you don't have 5 to 6 trade lines reporting on Experian, but then you have good personal credit, they'll still deny you and you can't apply for 180 days. But same goes for vice versa. So you want to make sure that you're at that threshold where that particular underwriter would want to see, and make sure that you're applying for the ones that are going to be pulling, say, Experian. Back to what I was saying before, if you're trying to get, say, industrial supply credit lines like through a manufacturer, then 99% of the time the underwriter is going to be pulling Dun Bradstreet. But then if you're trying to get no PG business auto loans or equipment financing, anything like that, 95% of the time the underwriter is going to be pulling Equifax Business, just like Ally, Ford Motor Credit, to name a few. They're going to be pulling in conjunction with Credit Safe, Equifax as a blended report to make their underwriting decisions. Yeah, he had to put down a down payment, but we're talking like 1.6, 1.7 million for 10 G Wagons. And then he got a contract with American Express to pick up like corporate CEOs and other contracts. It's like Uber Black, but like on steroids. So that's why he wanted to get that fleet of the 10 G Wagons, and he just hires drivers to work as subcontractors, and then he pays them, say, a certain rate, and then they get tips and whatnot. He had no business credit built up when he signed up for the mentorship. He had NAV or E for a couple, but that's about it. So I told him what he needed to do, and every week I made him do these tasks. And just like all my students, 5 to 7 tasks. I'll show you that here in a minute. But you got to position yourself. See, you look 10 times bigger than you are, and you look fundable to the underwriter. And I know all the underwriters, what they're looking for. I'm a data furnisher myself. I report to Credit Safe and Equifax. So I can actually see the same thing the underwriter is going to see as well. They see a little bit different data. But anyways, back to what I was saying, Angela approved for around 2,000, she said, waiting 30 days to reapply. And then Mercedes, she was given the 7 to 10 day notice. And like I told her in the client portal, like I tell all my students, if you get the 7 to 10 day message, make sure you read what I put in the client portal, because I gave you a phone number to the underwriter. She did that. She called and they were able to verify. They did like a 3-way call to her business number that's in the national telecom databases. So then it was verifiable. And then she was approved for the 4,000 Lowe's card. But if you didn't do what I tell you to do, then you're just going to get the message saying we're unable to verify your business. It's called no PG Business MasterCard. So you need to know what to do. And I've hundreds of clients over the years that I've compiled all the data and data points. 99% of the time is always no PG. We exhaust all no PG options first and foremost before we go into anything that's personally guaranteed. And then this is the reference number that they're going to give you with that 7 to 10 day message, say either for Lowe's, JCPenney's, or ConocoPhillips 76, the only no PG revolving business gas card. And I tell you in the client portal exactly, if you get that 7 to 10 day message, then call this number and say this verbiage. But even before that, I'm going to tell you custom, like based on the audit that I do on your business credit, when I accept you as a student, based on everything that I find, I'm going to tell you how much to put in the requested credit limit for these different underwriters. You don't want to just blindly put a high amount if you can't justify that in your business credit, depending on where your business credit profile is at. Synchrony has 5-6 different lines that they underwrite, like Floor and Decor, Sam's Club, no PG Business MasterCard, the store card, even like I said, JCPenney's, ConocoPhillips 76, no PG revolving gas card, and then Lowe's, and there's 1 or 2 others. So it's very important to make sure that you build up that interbanking relationship too, so you can get to the $25,000, $30,000 no PG business Sam's Club MasterCard even. And then back to this, approved for 2,500. Josh, I applied for this a few months ago when you assigned it to me, and I got approved for 10,000. Followed your direction precisely. Monthly spend that I put down, like I said, I will tell you what to put down on the monthly spend for all these applications. And it's not always going to be the same for each student. I'm going to tell you based on audit that I come up with and everything that I look at, that's going to dictate based on what I'm going to tell you to put in the application. So it is all custom one-on-one. Mario put down 1,500. He received a 7 to 10 day message. Then he called in the review process, like I mentioned a few moments ago, and he got verified and business was verifiable and approved for 3,000. But had he not read those steps that I told him to do, like I tell all my students, some students, they overlook that. They just click on the link and just think they know exactly what to do. And then they wonder why they get a business information is unverifiable. As long as you take the time and read what I tell you in the client portal, most times you'll get approved. And even when you get denied for some, I want those denial letters, because based on that denial letter, if you read between the lines, it can tell you what's the problem. But you have to trust the process. My process works. So when she called the next day, she was approved after calling the number. And then Bob, I got a $4,000 credit card approved just now. John says revenue approved me for 75,000. Hey Josh, I completed all my steps, got 4,000. Andre got it for 9,800. He only got it for 9,800, but still, be happy with what you get. You have to start somewhere. And then JCPenney's for 3,000. Lowe's for 3,000. But yeah, that's it as far as that goes. Let me jump over the client portal. I know this is long. I'm sorry for making this so long, but just text if you're interested in my one-on-one business credit mentorship. Text 937-423-9954. Let me know where you're at. If it's Pacific Standard Time, Eastern Standard Time. I pretty much do phone consultations in the evenings for the most part. I can make adjustments for, say, morning, but usually the mornings and early afternoons I reserve for my one-on-one business credit students that are currently enrolled. And late afternoons and evenings is when I do the free consultations to see if you would be a good fit or not for my business credit mentorship. Don't just go to my client portal and register. I'm just showing this as example. If we get on the phone and I do the consultation and say your goals and the chemistry, all that is like aligned and it's realistic goals, then I'm going to tell you I can invite you, accept you, qualify you for joining my one-on-one business credit mentorship. You pick what plan. I have 3 different options for that as well. Aside from the 12, 16, 26, and 52 weeks, I have a flex pay where you can put down a down payment and then pay at your own pace as long as it's paid off by the end of the mentorship term. And then there's a discount if you do 50% down and 50% within 60 days, then you're going to get 25% discount off the mentorship standard pricing. And then for those that can do a one-time payment, then you're going to get 50% off the standard pricing. So I try to make it flexible for everybody. But anyways, you're just going to register your business name, your name, and your email address, and that's it, and hit submit. And then after I approve you on the back end on my dashboard, then you're going to come in here and you're going to see the first thing that you'll see is the intake form step 1. So you're going to see this, and this is so I can complete the audit. So it doesn't matter if you're a brand new business or you're established, I still need this. It's just basic information, your business name. It's not going to ask for your social or anything like that. Just your business name, your business address, your industry type. There's plenty to choose from there. And then it's going to ask you for your tax ID number and your business phone number. And if this is a virtual office or not, if it's a Lion or say Opus or Anytime Mailbox, iPostal, whatever. I hope it's not iPostal though. It's not good addresses. And then business start date and the current business bank account balance, the business owner's name, which would be you, the business owner's address, owner's cell phone, and then approximate FICO score. I don't need to know exact, just if it's around 700 or 650, just put ballpark. It doesn't have to be precise. And then your email address. And then if you have a website, put your website address. And then it's just going to ask you whatever you've already signed up for. Prime, Boost, eCredible, Dun Bradstreet, Experian Credit Safe. I need to add fair figure on there. And then these are all optional, just a brief summary of what you've already done, short and long business credit goals. So what is your immediate goals for building business credit? Why are you joining the mentorship? Your short-term goals. It helps me gauge what I'm going to assign you every week so we can make sure that we meet those goals. And then what's your long-term business goals, like 6 to 12 months? What are you trying to achieve? What are you trying to accomplish? Is it vehicles, a fleet, working capital, funding, investments, real estate, whatever it may be? The more transparent you are with me, the better I can assist you. It can get complex where I can't achieve your goals if you're not open and honest with me. I don't really accept too many people with bad personal credit. If you do have troubled personal credit, as long as you're honest with me and you understand you having, say, a 550 personal FICO score, don't expect to get the same as a business owner, student of mine that has a 750 personal FICO score. Yes, we're doing no PG. However, sometimes your personal credit will be soft pulled, and that's just to gauge things. It does play a degree factor, but if you have very strong business credit, then your personal credit is less of a factor. I could literally go on for 10 more hours about all these different details. That's why it gets hard for me to do these consultations, because sometimes these consultations are several hours long and I can only fit so many people in on one day. Anyways, you're going to provide me with your username if you have an AB account or you have the paid account. But if you don't, then I'm going to have you get that. And then it's optional. You can upload any business credit reports if you have those. If you don't, big deal. I will pull them myself during the audit process. When I do the audit, it typically takes me about 24 hours to pull all the main bureaus, Secretary of State, and secondary databases, as well as the citation. Once I see that whole picture, then that's when I decide what I'm going to have you do. So you're going to see a task to do. This is where you're going to come in, do the tasks. So let's scroll down to the bottom. These are just examples, but again, it's not always about having you apply for something. Like this one is, I'm telling you to go and get your Google My Business profile, because underwriters, especially the manual underwriters, the ones that you're trying to get no PG high limits, they're going to look and see if you're listed with the Better Business Bureau or you're verified with Google. And if you're not, that's going to be a problem. So every week I'm going to assign 5 to 7 tasks for you to do. You're going to do those. Some are going to be for credit. Some are going to be vendor accounts. Some are going to be store cards, but it's all the foundation. But again, a lot of it's going to dictate on what your goals are, short-term and long-term, and your current situation. Some of my students, I immediately had them go apply for high limit cards that are no PG fintechs, like John, because he was in a position to do that. But then a majority of my students, they're brand new business owners and they're either pre-revenue or low revenue. We have to build this whole foundation, especially if you want all no PG and you have, say, troubled or not the greatest personal credit. But then let's see here. I'm going to have you apply for RoadFlex and tell you exactly what to do, how to apply for it. Experian Information Solutions, I'm telling you exactly the breakdown between each bureau, Dun Bradstreet, Equifax, PayNet, Credit Safe, and Experian, who they use, right? So don't go into this blind and watch these different YouTube channels that are just get this trade line, get that trade line, and just get as many trade lines as you can, get 2 nav accounts and this, that. You're wasting time. That doesn't work anymore. Don't focus on the scores either. I hate to be repetitive, but there's so much bad mixed information out there. There's still everyone's stuck on the 80 paydex score that doesn't matter at all, especially nowadays. Like Dun Bradstreet is not really used by financial underwriters anymore. But then there's the Parker corporate card. This is for e-commerce and you get up to 60 days to repay. It's no PG. I explain exactly what it's about and how to go about applying for it. Now, again, you're not going to get these same tasks. These are just examples, but they're different custom tasks that I'm going to assign to you based on if I feel you're going to get approved. I'm not going to assign it to you unless I feel you're going to get at least an 80% chance or higher that you're going to get approved. Now, the last thing I want to show you is, let's see here. Now, there's some banks that I'll have you actually open up a bank account, like a business checking account, a couple different that you're going to use, and you're going to build up that interbanking relationship. You don't have to use them as your primary. Put $50 in there, put $100 in there just to get that relationship built up for 1 to 3 months. And then at that time, once we build up your business credit, get everything situated, then I'm going to have you apply for, say, a longer term working capital or SBA loan. We're going to explore all options. At the end of the mentorship, I want you to have a lot of business credit built up, a lot of different options. So then when 6 months after the mentorship's over with, you won't need me, you won't need anybody. You'll be near an expert on business credit, and you will have dozens of options to get different funding terms. Just leverage it, use other people's money. That's how I was able to use business credit, buy 3 houses that needed rehab during COVID using business gas cards. And I figured out how to liquidate them. I liquidated 3 of them. They weren't expensive houses. They were 22,000 to 34,000. But then after 30 days, 35 days, that's when it's due. So I liquidated 2 other cards to pay them back with their own money. And then I benefited the reporting and just rinse and repeat that same cycle for about 6 months. And then that's, wow, your business credit is extremely strong and you're going to get approved for anything. Even if you had bad personal credit, you're still going to get approved because your business credit is so strong and showing that you're paying back 20, 30, 40,000 every month and going down to a zero balance. Like it's a win situation. And honestly, you don't even need to be using that money. Yeah, it costs money to liquidate it, but you don't necessarily have to be buying something with it. You're just maturing your business credit report. Okay, so now last thing, I know this is long and everything, but for instance, this, I'm going to give you actually instructions. It says here, it's a link, and I'm telling you exactly go to this website, and it's giving you a little tutorial. I made this tutorial for some, not all of them, but I made a tutorial for Naven and tell you exactly what to do, how to fill it all out, so forth and so on. They offer an OPG business corporate card. So I go through the guide on that, and then here's the site. Try to make everything as easy as possible for you. And a lot of these are ones that nobody's even talking about. So then down here at the comment section, it's going to say at Credit Josh always. Then you're going to say, hey, I was approved for D500. And then you're just going to post. And that's it. So do that to all the tasks, even if it's not a credit application, whatever the task may be, like Google Local or Better Business Bureau, US Chamber of Commerce, whatever it may be, do the task and then tell me that it's either one completed or if you got approved for how much. And then at the end of each week, based on what you did and the outcome of those tasks, that's going to dictate my weekly review on what I'm going to assign to you the next week. And then after about 3 weeks, then that's when it starts getting really fine tuned and the foundation's pretty solid getting built. And then you start getting stronger and stronger approvals. That's why my lowest mentorship is weeks, because regardless if you're new or established, you need that quarterly trend, especially on Experian, the payment trend. And if I did just a 1 month mentorship like I used to, you're not going to be happy really with the results, because if you have a address that needs to be updated, incorrect industry codes or whatever, rich filmographic data is lacking, key personnel, business credit is not federally regulated. Therefore, you're at the mercy of the bureaus to update things. And sometimes that can take weeks and even sometimes months. 12 weeks is the minimum. Most of my students, 60-70% of my students are on 16 weeks, and a lot of them extend to 26 or 52. That's optional. It just depends if you're happy and you want to get more credit and want to learn more, then you can extend. If not, then it's fine. No big deal. But at the end of the day, I want you to be successful. I want you to get approved, but not just approved. I want you to learn. So then you don't need me in the future, and you don't need to listen to other people that are using all these affiliate links and promoting Red Spectrum and these cloud trade lines $100,000 limit. You guys, that's another thing. And I could go on for hours. Some of you guys know how I am. I could just let all you ramble. That's the bad thing about my ADHD and my speech issues from having early onset Parkinson's. However, I'm so tired of this. There's so many people out there on YouTube that are always saying, they give you this limit or that limit. Who cares about the limits? Because you know what? I know this. I'm a data furnisher when it comes to business credit. Limits aren't necessarily disclosed to the business credit bureaus. You can look at your business credit reports. It's not like you see on the personal side where you see a Chase card or whatever it may be, and you're going to see the utilization. You have a $20,000 limit. It's going to show if your balance is 10,000. It's going to show what your limit is, right? However, on the business side, you're not going to see anywhere on business credit reports where it's going to necessarily show a limit, because that's not important when it comes to business credit. What's important is the utilization, the balance, and the overall utilization and the types of mixed accounts. But by far the most important is the balance. Credit, you want to keep utilization, they say, under 30%, but ideally you really want to have it around 3%. That's like my sweet spot to have in the 800s. But ideally, in a perfect world, you want to have very low balances, utilization, right, for all your credit accounts. But on the business side, that's the opposite. Show balances that you're not going to get approved for decent business credit funding or credit lines if you have 5 or 10 trade lines reporting on it. They're all showing like zero balance or $192, $238, $68, whatever. That's not demonstrating that your company is healthy financially to be able to pay back a sizable funding or a sizable loan. And you have to understand that anybody could pay, if you have, say, 5 trade lines being reported on Experian and the balances are under, say, $500, that's not going to demonstrate combined everything together. What is it, $1,500 or $2,000 in a month? That's not demonstrating that you're a healthy company financially. What's going to demonstrate that you're healthy financially as a company and you're fundable is not the quantity of the trade lines, but the consistency. And I much rather see 3 trade lines with, say, 500 to 1,000 balance being reported than 10 trade lines with balances being reported down to 0 or 50 or $100. The underwriters and the bureaus aren't stupid, and they know what you're trying to do is manipulate the system. That's not going to demonstrate anything. It's okay to strategically build business credit and leverage it to your advantage, but not to the point where you're just getting as many trade lines as you can. You're not demonstrating that you're paying those accounts. Anybody on the personal side, you get 10 different credit cards, but if you never use them, then it just being reported as okay every month. That's fine. It's not negative, but it's not going to help you either. When you go to get a mortgage, they're going to say, why do you have all these credit cards on the personal side? Just using that as a metaphor example. but you've never the cards, so you're not even shown that you can pay it back. So you have to demonstrate that behavior, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And I walk you through that, and I even will tell you what credit lines, what to use, how much to use it. And if it's able to be liquidated, like a certain store card, like JCPenney's or something, I'm going to tell you how to liquidate it if it's necessary. But everything I have you do, there's always a strategic reason why I'm having you do it. Even if it's something you may not understand why I'm having you do it today, there's a reason I'm having you do it. Because 6 weeks later, or 4 weeks later, or 2 months later, then you're going to be like sitting home like, oh, gotcha. Now I know why Josh had me apply for this credit line or do that. If, as long as you're paying attention, it makes sense to you, especially by 8 to 10 weeks into the mentorship, everything's going to make sense. And the only thing I really require is dedication. That's the most important thing, is dedication, and just 1 to 2 hours of your time per week dedicated to do the tasks that I assign. It can be 3 o'clock in the morning or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, or 10 minutes a day, Monday through Friday, whatever. Just do the tasks. I typically assign the tasks around Monday or Tuesday. Sometimes it can be Wednesday, just depends. But every week you're going to get that, and you just keep at it. Trustpilot. These are different citations. They're all free to do. It doesn't cost anything to get Hot Frog, Foursquare, U.S. Chamber of Commerce, Manta, LinkedIn Business, Yellow Pages listing. These things don't cost anything. Merchant Circle, Bing, Yahoo. It just takes your time. Okay. 5-10 minutes for each one. Make an Excel spreadsheet, put all the logins so you can keep track of them, so you can update it later if you need to. But the more information that these manual underwriters can find about you, because all the fintech, the financial technology, no PG, credit lines, 10, 20, 100,000, what they're going to do is search your business name on Google manually after you submit the application. And they're going to look for not just your website, but they're going to look to see if you're listed on the Yellow Pages or Better Business Bureau or Chamber of Commerce. They want to see that you have 10 to 20 different citation mentions of your business listed on these different authority directory citations, because that's going to prove to them that you're not just some fly-by-night business and you're a real legitimate business. That's what a real business has, right? Even if it's a new business. Unfortunately, there's a lot of fraud. People start LLCs just to get no PG business credit, then they just use it for their personal, and they never have any intention ever to pay it back. Therefore, it's really important to present yourself that image that all your T's are crossed and your I's are dotted. And I know I'm friends with some of the underwriters as well, and I know exactly what they're looking for. Aaron at Fair Figure. I can't disclose to you guys what they've told me in confidence. And I wouldn't say this, but that's just because there's so many scammers out there. And I'm sure there's several of them right now watching me and just waiting for me to slip up and then try to get basically free money and have no intention to ever pay it back, whether it be $500 or $10,000 or whatever it may be. That's also the other reason why I'm very picky on who I accept. That's why I need to do that phone consultation first. Within 5 minutes, based on what your responses are, a good fit. Anyways, like I said, I could go for several more hours, but at the end of the day, you can see I have over 500 videos. I got the Centurion Black, all the cards here. And you watch all my past videos, live streams from a couple years ago, you're going to see all my processes and stuff. If you have the time and want to fast track it, but 20 hours a week, then you don't need to be doing the mentorship. It's not worth it unless you value your time and you don't want to make any mistakes and you want to fast track everything. That's where the mentorship comes in. But if you are on a tight budget, half my students run payment plan, right? The flex payment plan. And a lot of them are on tight budgets, and I would try to work with them, right? Put a down payment and then pay at your own pace. But if you're on an extremely tight budget where you put down some type of down payment, and then I assign 4 or 5 tasks to you, like your Experian annual membership, that's $90 or whatever with the discounted link. It's normally like $200. Then Fair Figure, Nav, eCredible, it's like $180 that you're going to have to pay out of the gate just for these different services to get these trade lines, right? Because that's the foundation. So if you can't even afford that, then I can tell you, just start small, get a Fair Figure first. If you're that tight of budget, don't text me at all, because respect my time. Don't obviously waste it, but At the same time, I don't waste your time either. If you're on a super extreme tight budget, you can only allocate, say, a couple $100 a month towards building your business credit up. I would suggest to work on NAV, eCredible, Fair Figure, Dash office supplies, and Uline. That's going to set you up for success for the very near future after about 1 or 2 months of those reporting. And it's less than $200 a month for that. But anyways, with all that being said, you guys take care. Please text 937-423-9954. Spots are limited. And you want to get in now because I can actually report the trade lines and for the mentorship, Credit Safe and Equifax. And I report the last day of every month, so forth, as well as NAV, Fair Figure, a Uline. So literally, if you sign up in the next, say, 24 to 48 hours, I'm going to have you do these tasks. If you don't already have them, you could have 0 trade lines right now. And literally in 5 or 6 days from now, we can pull your Experian report and you're going to have 5 to 7 different Experian and Dun Bradstreet and Credit Safe and Equifax trade lines. But if it goes past, say, March 1st, no problem. It's okay. If you're not able to sign up until after March 1st or whatever, that's fine. But those trade lines aren't really be reported until the 1st of April, the 2nd of April. Most all trade lines report around the 1st and the 2nd of every month. Some of them the 6th. But the main ones I'm telling you about, these starter ones, not starter vendors, but these starter service trade lines like NAB, eCredible, Fair Figure, they report on the 1st and 2nd of every month. So it's vital for the next 48 hours. Whoever is interested, I have 4 or 5 spots open. So those that get in, mention that I said this, that you watched the whole video through, and I'll give you an extra 10% discount just because you waited and listened to this whole thing. And just say this: Josh, I watched the whole video until the end. You said to give you 10% if I qualify, 10% off on top of any of the packages. And I'll give you that if it's before March 1st. Okay. And the reason I say that is, to me, it's not all about the money, right? That all goes to the Michael J. Fox Foundation for Parkinson's Research. I was successful and exited out almost $10 million business that I sold in 2017. However, the fact that you're listening, I don't know how long this has been, over an hour probably. Let's see here. Yeah, just about an hour. The fact that you listened to this long alone, you're impressing me because that's showing that you're actually dedicated. 70% of the people that contact me, they don't even watch this whole video. They just call the number or they don't follow instructions. And they just, how much is it? Like, it's fine to get right to the point, but I don't disclose pricing until I can at least pre-qualify you to see if you're a good fit. There's no point to explain the pricing to you or send the pricing to you if you're not in a position, even your goals, there's just no point. I don't want to waste time and be completely transparent. So that's really what it comes down to. I could explain so much more, and we didn't even get into the reports. I could show you all the reports and explain things to you. And I guess I probably need to do that in the next coming days, but I just want to get this out because it's the end of the month. And I always do this every month at the end of every month, like the last 4 or 5 days. I don't always have spots available, but if I have spots available around the last 4 days of the month, I'll come out and say, hey, let's go. If you're wanting to pull the trigger and you're like, oh, I'll say, just start now. It's the 26th or 27th. If you wait 3 days or you wait 2 days, that's potentially going to slow you down by 1 month just because those trade lines are not going to be reported until that following month. If you get in now before midnight of the last day of the month, you get in that before Pacific Standard Time, midnight. But I wouldn't push it all the way to that. Just get moving right away. Therefore, you're going to benefit and get those trade lines. A couple of days later, you can pull your Experian and see all those. So it just speeds up the process. Anyways, with all that being said, you guys take care. I appreciate your time and patience. And again, I apologize for my rambling, and everybody knows that. I ramble a little bit too much, but I'm passionate about what I do. And I could literally sit here for 10 more hours and keep talking about different elements of business credit. There really is a science to it. No other channel gets as deep as learn that if you haven't already. So just text 937-423-9954. Text that you are interested in my one-on-one business credit mentorship and a free consultation. day or night. Where I'm at right, it is morning. So for you, it's probably evening if you're watching this live or now. But anyways, as I said, till next time, you guys take care. I appreciate it. Bye bye.